messages last week. It was crazy.
Yeah, because you're crazy. And it's another day devoted to a soldier resource panel. And with me is Eric Lewis, and we are officially connected. I will not get dropped off, although it is storming out here. So I might have just jinxed myself. But thank you for coming back on. Well, first of all, thank you for closing us out and bringing it all together on Thursday. You definitely can work under pressure or when bad things happen. So we know that about Eric Lewis. But he's back today. We're going to talk a lot. It's going to be a good topic about, Veterans Affairs. We got some good questions, some good topics that he's going to share his wisdom and his heart and his soul with us, which is what it's all about. Oh well, maybe not. You might tell me, not now, Danielle, not now, and that is okay. But for those that missed it on last Thursday, tell us a little bit about you, Eric.
Okay, I was in the Navy for 20 years. I joined in 1994 out of McAllen, Texas. I retired in 2014 at a Marine Corps base, of all places, which was kind of weird for me. When I retired, the one thing I've done all my life is music's always been a part of my life. I just thought it was for something else, but little did I know, fast forward to now, I figured out why music's always been a major part of me, whether I'm listening to music or playing music or writing lyrics or whatnot. I felt a need, or I felt a calling for something to help out other veterans. So what I did was I established my nonprofit organization called VetTrex Project, which is I'm in the studio right now. It's JB Studios, named after my grandfather-in-law, who was a veteran. We record and mix and produce veterans' music for free. It's typically for people with PTSD and TBI. And then we host a music festival every year called the VetTrex Festival, which celebrates all of our accomplishments and all of our networking with our brothers and sisters. And we've got it to where this year we expanded to the East Coast, where I've got another veteran brother of mine that handles the VetTrex Project East in North Carolina. So it's almost like we want to infect the world with veterans and music, and that's our goal, But it's fun. And what we do is my band Failure by Proxy, we any show that we're playing, we're always promoting PTSD awareness. The same as my brother Nick Morgan and his band Dreams of Madness. It's the same thing. We are a network of brothers that, at any moment, if somebody's falling, we will pick each other up. But the one thing I noticed, and it happened to myself this weekend, you got to be there to ask for it, though. And if you don't ask for it, nobody's going to help you.
That is the truth. And you talk about PTSD, and it is something that you verbalize, that this is something that you go through, that is your struggle. But in your struggle, you're also changing the lives of other people. And this is what I think is amazing. Sometimes we take our own pain and suffering and we keep it within us because nobody knows, or we feel that nobody's going to relate to us. But the moment we allow ourselves to be, maybe the words vulnerable out there or truthful, that's when the real healing starts to happen, not just for others, but internally. Can you talk about what that was like on stage? You told me just like a little story earlier.
Okay, let me see. Now,
which story did you tell me is really probably what you're thinking.
Wait, you talking about the one you talking about the one this weekend?
No. You can't talk about that. I was about.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Okay, so we got off stage one day, and another veteran came up to us and was like, "Oh my God, you guys have saved my life." And we're like, well, and the person was a little intoxicated, and we're like, "What are you talking about?" Like, no, haha, funny. I mean, even though it's not funny, but we were like, wow, we appreciate it, but we don't know how to take that. Well, then as we started going more with the whole band and promoting the PTSD awareness, we were actually, granted, we're just a local band, and we've played with a lot of nationals, and they support us and they support our mission, but it's not about the band per se. It's about the music and the feeling that we we put out on stage, it affects a lot of people. And, you know, we're so thankful to have that connection to people, to where, you know, if me throwing a stick in the air or me acting crazy on stage is going to prevent you from killing yourself, well, then I'll just go harder every time, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the most humbling feeling. Just from, like, if I walked up to you and said, "Hey, Danielle, thanks for listening to me this weekend. You saved my life." How's that going to feel?
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to say, but I think at the same time, you're saving your own life doing
Yes.
it.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and I am honest with people. I do get some satisfaction out of helping other people. I mean, if I hated everything I did, I probably wouldn't do it. I mean,
Right.
I want to, but yeah, it's like when people commend me because I am the president and CEO, I'm always like, hey, I'm just the front guy. I've got a whole team that takes care of me. So it's them, it's not me, or it's us, you know, because I like to feel like, as we're giving music therapy to people, I'm actually on the other side receiving the music therapy that we're giving out. So it's like, you know, it's not about me, it's about them. And that's one of the things that I've talked to my own doctor about. And they're like, you've got to take care of you first, because the worst thing is if you're willing to save everybody else, but you can't save yourself, are you really helping others? And that's where it gets kind of scary, because you're like, wow, that is true. Because what if I give bad advice? What if, I mean, it was scary because it was a couple months ago. I had a FaceTime chat with 8 veterans, and this one guy had a problem with the VA. He just refused to go, and I was just like, enough, stop it, go to the VA, or I'm going to call the cops and get him to your house right now. Don't even know the guy. And then he basically, you saw him like slam his face into his camera, and then he shut off. I mean, it was almost like a movie. It was the scariest thing. And then, you know, a couple of the veterans bashed me because I was too hard on him. And I'm
Right.
like, well, do you want me to sugarcoat it, or do you want me to just put a diaper on you and say, here you go? Because and it wasn't the first time this guy had issues. So I was like,
Right.
somebody's got to tell him the truth. And, you know, I told him to go to the VA. I told him exactly what to do. He went to the VA. He got the help.
Yeah. And just on a side note to people, you do know a little bit about the VA.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, before I was employed with the VA, the one of the biggest challenges that I knew of as a veteran facing was the compensation and pension. You know, the VA did get a lot of bad raps back in the day about time it took for the claims to be processed. And I know Oakland was my processing center, and fortunately, they made the mistake in calling me, and I actually had their number. So like, oh, now I got your number. I can call you anytime. And don't ever give me your phone number if you don't want me to call. So, you know, I learned about the compensation and pension program and some of the problems and how it was to be ready with a fully developed claim, which is the FDC. And it's, you know, having all your ducks in a row. And so I'll tell people like, hey, you know, if you need any help, let me know. I do work at the VA. I am disabled. I can tell you what works for me. You know, it just because it works for me may not work for you, but at least I can help you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. That way there's no question. So,
Right.
And then, you know, and the one thing, and this is the one part about my job I do love, is working in acquisitions, is we do a lot of contracting stuff and seeing all the, you know, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the VA, but seeing all the stuff from behind the scenes and hearing all the negative stuff out there, it's like, if they only knew if the civilian sector only really knew what goes on behind the scenes, it's amazing. And it's like, it's blood, sweat, and tears. It's people breaking down, having mental lapses because they can't get something done for the vet. It's very moving, you know, and
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's like we see it from our side of not, you know, it's like a brick wall. And then here you are, a disabled vet with your own, you know, PTSD and going on, fighting just as hard behind the scenes. So that gives a little bit of, yeah, it still might be a brick wall, but there are good people out there, you know, putting in the efforts for our veterans helping veterans kind of thing.
Well, and that is one of the things I can say as a federal employee. I mean, I work for several agencies, and you know, you always have your lumps on a log that don't want to do anything to just earn a paycheck. You know, I can say at the VA that don't happen. That does not happen for sure. They're all working, believe me. We want to help. That's what we're there. You know, our mission is about our veterans. So.
Everybody's going to be messaging you, what VA are you at? Because, you know, you're going to get inundated now.
like I said, I can always help out where I can,
Yeah.
and it, the biggest thing, especially with claims, and I know a lot of the VAs are now having their VSOs on the site. COVID did really mess a lot of stuff up, but I believe, I think we just recently opened our hospital. I don't know if our VSO is open yet, but like we said last week, you got to utilize the resources that are there and never be afraid to ask a question. And sometimes don't take no for an answer, because it's, if you're asking, no, that can't happen. Me, I don't like no. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to find a way it will work. And, sometimes it is no, but, it's like, don't give up. If the moment you stop caring about yourself or giving up on what your feelings are, then there's going to be problems. A lot of times we have veterans, and this is just me knowing from many years, is we are afraid to ask for help. As a man, like I said last week, I'm a guy, I don't need help, I'm strong. But no, the bigger they are, the harder we fall. That is 100% true, because having one of those episodes and realizing, the first thing I do is tell everybody, get away from me, because I don't want people to see what I'm going through. But yet it's like I'm saying, get away, but stay with me, but get away, stay with me. And it's hard because it's scary, because we don't know what we're going to do, and I've seen several veterans have meltdowns, and I'm just like, wow. And it's like, when does it stop? And it's like, I'm on what they call NAC. It's an over-the-counter medication. I believe my doctor had said the VA is recommending it to people. It's like an herbal supplement, and it helps take the edge off a lot. So it's working for me.
Yeah.
Not all the way, but you can, it does help.
I think you have to find kind of what works for you, because we're all made up differently, and the way our brain functions are completely different. So you kind of have to be very vigilant in, okay, this isn't working, so research and go out on your own. But I want to talk about PTSD. You made a comment when we were chatting back and forth last week about, in 1970 they came up with PTSD, and then in 2012 it kind of became this blanket for everybody. So talk to me about that a little bit.
Okay, in the 1970s, with our guys coming back, they were shell shocked. So they had to determine a way to figure out, basically, because we got to put a label for everything. Not like these guys just messed up. So the shell shock syndrome came out. Well, then in the Navy, I knew it to be post-transition from a stressful deployment. That was our own classification on it, but it was still post-traumatic stress disorder. So then the 80s came out, and it was still focused on veterans. And then in 2012, the DSM got rewritten, I believe, and they lumped a lot of mental disabilities into certain categories instead of having it multiple. It's grouping everything, and then all of a sudden, it's everybody else in the civilian sector. They've had issues, traumatic experiences. You can think of a million of what they are. So everybody's got PTSD now. I saw an article on the news, on Fox or CNN, whichever one, that somebody sued Facebook because Facebook gave them PTSD. I was so deeply offended. I was telling a social worker today, I was all, that's our word, and then that's just me as a veteran. And, I'm not taking anything from any civilians or anything, but, that was for us. And now we're looped into everything. And so it's like, not that it got watered down, but it's what did I say? It's like a trend word. It's like, oh, you have emotional problems. Yeah, you got PTSD. Oh, it's like having ADHD. Oh, you're hyper. Here's some drugs. Here's some drugs. Here's some drugs. And it's like, that doesn't fix it. That does not fix the problem. Let's determine what the problem is and where the root of it is. So if we know our service members are coming back for more, do not let them out of your sight. Give them if you're going to quarantine us for COVID, quarantine them for PTSD. Let's see what's going on,
Yeah.
And again, they're not the VA's views. Those are my personal views. But, it's like I call the guy Huggy Bear. I see him. He's a great husband, a great father. And you just see the black cloud come over him. You're like, oh, God. And I just want to give him a hug. And I used to see him every week when he would go to the VA for his mental health follow-ups and all that. And it was like I was the person he came to talk to afterwards. And that's like my brother. And, he was real standoffish, but he basically broke through his wall. He basically he gave in to resisting, and once we give in to resisting, fighting our own battle, and you just let it go, like drop the bricks, drop the bag, it's a different feeling. However, it doesn't always go away. It does go away for that moment. Like today, I feel great. This weekend, I felt like no. I was horrible this weekend, but today's a good day.
What are some things that you see that work either for you or other people? Because I know sometimes people are just like, I don't even know where to start. Like, what is giving into what all of this that's going on in me? Like, where do you even start with
that? And that's the thing is like, I don't know if there are any classes on it, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to learning or recognizing triggers or understanding your feelings. Like for me, I know when I feel unsettled, I always say it's like the early onslaught of an earthquake. You just feel a rumble, like my hands will start shaking. My dog typically will come up to me and like not leave me alone. And then I'll pick certain music to listen to, and then that'll start spinning me up. And then, so what I do, if I know that something's coming, I'd rather be mad because I don't want to deal with anything sad. So let me piss myself off. And then I just start, it's like sucking in everything just to validate why I feel one way. And I could be pissed off at this, but I'm going to take everything else that's upsetting me and it's just going to blow up. And that's without seeing combat. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff, but I know veterans that have got it way worse than me. And what do? They don't know what to do. It's like, what am I supposed to, I hate jogging, but if jogging was my thing, I'd probably go jog, work out, write music, do art, play paintball. I know with Wounded Warriors, we used to go do airsoft night, which was awesome. That's kind of also bad too. I had a bad episode one night, but I was like, I'm not going to that anymore. But it's like, it's phone a friend type thing. It's like, I wish there was not a veterans hotline, but it's almost like where we could have just a number that any one of us could pick up, not a social worker or somebody that's behind a desk. It's just like, hey, just call a friend, and you don't even know who they are.
Right.
I've posted many times my phone number on Facebook on like Colorado veterans. I give them the Vet Tracks number, and I've gotten people to call me 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know who you are, and it doesn't matter, but it does, and it does take a toll on me too, because I'm an empath. So if somebody else is feeling pain, I'm going to try to absorb their pain for them. And then it puts me in a spin. It's chaos.
So
but,
like you have it written down. Like it's almost like play by play. Okay, I'm going to feel this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I feel like if there was a way to like literally like stick a pin in this like point in juncture of and change the projection of that anger to something else. Like, you're going to make yourself mad. And so it's almost like complete willpower of the spiritual and mental ability of something greater than ourselves to be like, I'm not going to get angry and revert it.
Well, and you'll always hear, they'll say I'm not saying they, you'll hear me say demons or darkness. That's what it is. And it's like, I believe in God. I believe in the devil. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
But, music is my spiritual bliss, I guess you could say. I look to music. I look to my bandmates. And, at any moment, if I needed help, they're over here. I mean, they came over a couple of days ago just to talk to me for 5 hours, just to make sure I was in the right headspace. Because after a traumatic experience or an episode, your mind or my mind is blown. Like yesterday, I was just like, wow. That's why I canceled yesterday. I was just like, I just feel numb. And today it's better. But I'm like so exhausted now.
Right.
Because I emotionally, I worked myself up so much over nothing that became something ridiculous. Because again, I sucked in everything else just to feel something instead of sadness.
Right. So kind of what I'm hearing is like I'm processing all this. We think like you had an episode this weekend and it was a bad one. And I talked about, what's coming, sticking something in there to like help or be a tool or a resource, right?
Yep.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have your people that you know, it doesn't mean the episode goes away. But if it wasn't there, what would that look like? So it's actually is diffusing it, even though it's not like peaches and cream and like, okay, everything's fine. We have to understand that even though we kind of go through this cycle, and it is, I believe from just, I mean, I'm not a doctor by any means, but I've researched on brains and things like that. Your brain goes through the cycle and it might not be perfect, but it's not explosive. It's because you have tools and resources. And so you are still here. You talk about wearing a mask a lot because that is your coping. I want to say it's like a coping.
Well, I wish you would have been there when I explained it to my bandmates this weekend, because I'm all, now you see why I wear a mask. And they were just like, holy crap. I'm like, well, I don't tell it. And the craziest part is, if you were to say, Eric, why do you wear your mask? Today, I would tell you something that makes sense. But when it's almost like your brain's like broken open and you're just trying to just exalt or release everything, you'll hear the reasons why. And it's not scary or nothing. It's sad, but it's like, it's a part of who I am. So might as well embrace it. I mean, I love it, but I hate it because I originally started wearing a mask to teach myself how to breathe correctly as a drummer, because I hit so hard. But then I hit so hard because I hate playing, but I hate playing because I love playing. And it's just like, it's weird. It is so weird. And then the worst part about having the episodes is, as much as I want the help, then I get the help, and then they keep following up, making sure I'm okay. I'm like, I'm fine. Leave me alone. Quit talking about it, because you're going to make me mad. And they're like, why are we going to make you mad if we're trying to show you care and concern? And I'm like, well, okay. So I have to just give in and just be like, you know what? If I'm calling them for help, then if they're asking me every day if I'm okay, well, then I just got to suck it up and be like, yeah, I'm fine. And thank you for checking in, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's, yeah. Wow. It's just so weird.
Well, it is, I think, because a lot of people don't talk about it exactly like this. They'll talk about it as kind of like you said in the beginning. I had an episode. Well, what the hell does that look like or even mean? And then the aftermath of it, what does that look like and mean? And I think it's different every time, and I think it's different for each person. So me, since I learn best and have a best understanding when someone shows me and tells me it. If I was to read it, I probably wouldn't comprehend it as well as I am verbally. So I feel as a very healing process, kind of go through. It sucks maybe for you to talk to me about this, but I think it's important because people want to know they're not alone. And even like with brain damage, and I do believe we shouldn't categorize PTSD for every single thing, because it's very different. How it got there is different. Yes, trauma is trauma, but traumas are different. And so I agree on that. But like, even with brain damage, when there are parts of your brain that are damaged, you react differently, and you have to relearn who you are, what's acceptable, how to handle it, and the tools. And I think sometimes we think we're not normal because it's not what society says
it's not
to do. Like the 5 steps, like breathe, exercise, eat healthy. Well, that doesn't always work all the time, or at all.
And it's weird because veterans are different breeds of people. I mean, it's not like, I mean, sometimes people are forced to go into the military because of criminal activity or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But, we chose to do this. And it's people, people that want to defend me or take care of me want to blame the military. Yeah. But, at any time at the 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, I could have gone out. But, that's something in itself, the dependency and the way the military works. But, like we had talked last week, that was my blanket. That was my comfort. You get rid of that. And now you're on your own, especially going into the military out of high school. I mean, having an identity, so to speak, in the military, being married, yeah, I'm your average family guy, and then getting out, and you don't have the military. I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to grow my hair out. I want to grow a beard. I can't grow a beard. I still got a baby face, but my hair, I can at least grow that out. And then my wife wants me to cut it. I cut it and it won't grow back. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to get a wig, but no, but it's trying to figure out. And that was, I think I know who I am per se, but I'm still identity wise. I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm actually at that phase right now. It's like, I'm 44. I thought I knew. I mean, I'm a musician. I mean, I've had numerous opportunities to go tour the world, and I've always shied away from it because I guess I was scared of success. I don't know. And that's for my doctor to figure that one out. And I just won't even talk. I'm happy with my wife and sons, So.
Well, we're all
and I got
on
so much other stuff going on. but for the people out there, though, I do want them to realize this. Many of my friends, my wife, basically all my friends included, did not want me to do this today. They said my mind probably wasn't in the right place. And you and I, Danielle, had texted back and forth. And I was like, you set me at ease. And I was very honest with you. You pulled me out enough to talk about this. So it does happen, not even knowing you, it does happen, and I shared some stuff with you that I did, but yeah, I do appreciate that. So it does, talking with people via text. Some people are embarrassed to talk to them face to face, then text it. Granted, sometimes the tone doesn't come out right, but at least you're communicating with people. And that's the key. And we said it last week, communication. And I shut my son out. I shut my wife out. I shut my friends out when I'm having stuff. And that doesn't help anybody. It definitely doesn't help myself. So I will tell you that when I go to the doctor, I mean, he pretty much makes me cry every time. But as soon as I get out of there, it's like, oh, those ton of bricks are gone, at least for this month. And then it's every month. So, it's, I guess it's just being humbled, I guess, or just realizing I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect. I am broken, but I'm broken to a point of it's not fixable. It's maintainable. And a lot of people think we can be cured. I can't. I don't think any of my other friends that have PTSD can be cured either. There is no cure. There is no wonder drug. All that's there is support, empathy, and compassion. And if we don't have that, you'll see a lot more.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things. One is I feel like cured to what? Go back to something that you were, but then that's going back in time, and we're not supposed to stay where we are. So I feel like we're all, broken in a way, but not broken where what society normally sees as broken. It's the evolution. It's our evolution. There is no cure to evolution. It's a constant revolving piece that you grow on. And so a couple of people, Travis said, good for you to come on today. He's a Marine in Boston. He's a good guy. And then Richard said, I can't believe how much I have in common with this gent for similar and different reasons. Wow, I need to know him. And by the way, let's do a tune together. So
hell yeah.
So when we get off, you can talk, but man, Eric, you are amazing. Like I said, I didn't know, and I was cool if you couldn't do it today because of everything we talked, but I am so honored that you did. And if you need me, I'm always here, but thank you, because it's a big deal. I don't even have words for it. And it's very rare for me not to have words. But I'm very grateful. So thank you.
But I did want to say that, with this whole COVID crap that's going on, we're still trying to do our Vet Tracks Festival. So if anybody's in the area of Northern California, I guess you can kind of figure out where I'm from. We're scheduled for October 3rd, and Troubadour Cabs they've donated guitar cabinets and bass cabinets for us for our backline. We have national musicians coming in to play to help support music for the veterans to save lives. And, that's what it's all about. It's not about any money. It does cost money, so you have to pay to get in. But seeing, it's funny because last year the sheriff or the cop was like, or the police officer, the sergeant, whatever. It was kind of tense because it's a rock show, and you would think somebody's going to fight. It was the craziest thing. I'm running around handing out challenge coins to people, hugging everybody. It's the most coolest thing in the world. I mean, just seeing that many people there, just, it's kind of, I wouldn't say like Woodstock, but like whole love and all that. But that's what it feels like. It's just, nobody's mad. Nobody's pissed off. Nobody wants to kill themselves. Everybody wants to have a good time. And that's what we do. We celebrate life. We celebrate our veterans suffering. So it's like, hey, let's have a kick-ass day and let's not worry about what's going on in your head today. We've got tomorrow for that. And hopefully they utilize our music and they're fans of Failure by Proxy and all the other bands playing, or, you know, because all of us promote PTSD awareness with law enforcement as well.
Yeah.
And responders. We've got a band of brotherhood of musicians there's just, they dedicate everything. And it's just amazing.
Well, I'm excited. So I didn't know it was, I talked to Alan today. I didn't know it was October 3rd. And so I think just putting it out there, we're probably going to have the whole band on talking about it. So I didn't even talk to you about that yet, but
I'll just talk to Alan. He's the manager. He'll make it work.
Yep. It's going to be a thing. So yeah, everybody out there, they'll meet the whole band, and hopefully I can make it out there October and do some live footage and stuff from that. That would be very cool. So again, thank you. I've taken up enough of your time. You were wonderful. I am so glad. And Justin, if he's not watching, I can't tell. Thank you for saying that I need to meet Eric. You were right on. I love that.
Cool.
Good people know good people.
That's
right. That's right. And I will see you later.
Bye, sweetheart.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys.